Now we look at some properties of Fourier transforms. There are different properties for Fourier transform, like linearity property, time scaling, time shifting. So all these properties and their proofs now we're going to see. We'll discuss one by one. The first one is linearity property. The first property is linearity property, right? So what does the linearity property state? If f of f1 of t has the Fourier transform f1 of omega, f1 of t has a Fourier transform f1 of omega, and f2 of t has a Fourier transform of f2 of omega, then a linear combination of these two functions, a1 into f1 of t and a2 into f1 of t, f2 of t. a1 and a2 are some arbitrary constants. So for a linear combination of these two functions, the Fourier transform will be in this form. We have to just multiply the Fourier transform of first signal with a1 and the Fourier transform of second signal with a2. This we will prove now, right? So for proof, what do we have from the Fourier transform analysis equation? Analysis equation f of omega. From the analysis equation, we have f of omega is equal to Fourier transform of f of t, Fourier transform of f of t, that is equal to integral minus infinite to plus infinite f of t e power minus j omega t dt, right? This is my analysis equation. Now we have f1 of t and f1 of omega as our Fourier transform pair. So we'll just substitute these functions in place of f of omega, f of t. So what we will get, f1 of omega is equal to Fourier transform of f1 of t, that is equal to integral minus infinite to infinite f1 of t e power minus j omega t dt, right? I'm just representing this pair in the equation form. Similarly, the second pair also I will represent it in equation form. What will that be? f2 of omega is equal to Fourier transform of f2 of t, that is equal to minus infinite to infinite f2 of t e power minus j omega t dt, right? Now we have the linear combination here of f1 and f2. So we'll take the Fourier transform of the left hand side. Fourier transform of a1 f1 of t plus a2 f2 of t. What is that going to be in this formula? Instead of f of t, I have a1 f1 of t into a1 f1 of t plus a2 f2 of t. So in place of f of t, I'm going to substitute my function, right? Now I can separate the integral for this part and this part. I can separate it. So it becomes a1 f1 of t e power minus j omega t dt plus integral a2 f2 of t e power minus j omega t dt. My a1 and a2 are constants, so I can get them out of the integral, right? This can come out and this can come out. So what is left inside the integral? Integral f1 of t e power minus j omega t dt. What is that integral f1 of t e power minus j omega t dt? It is same as this one, right? So that is going to be equal to a1 is already there, my constant a1 is already there, and I'm left with f1 of omega. I'm left with f1 of omega. So a1 f1 of omega plus a2 f2 of omega. So the Fourier transform of this is equal to this. So we have proved this statement. So that is the linearity property of Fourier transform. If these two conditions, if these two are the Fourier transform pair, then this also holds good. That is what we are saying. If f1 of t has a Fourier transform f1 of omega and f2 of t has the Fourier transform f2 of omega, then a linear combination of f1 and f2 linear weighted combination of f1 and f2. a1 f1 of t plus a2 f2 of t will have a Fourier transform a1 f1 of omega plus a2 f2 of omega, right? So what will happen if there is a minus sign here? If there is a minus sign here, I have a minus sign here, a1 f1 of t minus a2 f2 of t. Then I'll get a1 f1 of omega minus a2 f2 of omega. Right? That is the linearity property. The next property is time scaling property. Time scaling property. Right? If f of t has a Fourier transform f of omega, then for any real number a, real constant a, f of at will have a Fourier transform 1 by mod a f of omega by a. So let us look at the proof for this. Now Fourier transform of f of at, right? We'll take the Fourier transform of the left hand side. So it's going to be minus infinite to infinite f of at e power minus j omega t dt, right? Now I'll take at is equal to y. I'll just substitute at is equal to y. Then what will be what if I differentiate this on both sides? A is a constant, so a into dt is equals to dy. Simplifying this, dt is equal to dy by a, right? Dt is equal to dy by a. Then I look at my limits also. Here t is from minus infinite to infinite. So if I substitute t is equal to minus infinite, y will also be minus infinite. If I substitute t is equal to plus infinite, y is going to be plus infinite, right? So y limits are also from minus infinite to plus infinite, right? Now we'll take the first case when a is a positive real constant. A is greater than 0. F of t in place of f, Fourier transform of f of at is equals to, in place of f of at, I'm going to substitute f of y. At is equal to y, so I'll substitute f of y e power j omega t is equals to y by a from here, right? So in place of t, y divided by a, and in place of dt I have dy by a, dy divided by a, which is a constant, so I'll get it outside the integral, that is 1 by a, right? Then this whole thing is, what is this whole thing? What is f of omega? What is f of omega? F of omega is equals to integral minus infinite to plus infinite f of t e power minus j omega t dt, right? So here, if you compare these two equations, equations, instead of t, I can just replace it with y, right? I can just replace t with y, and instead of omega, I have omega by a. So what can I write? I can write this as f of omega by a, right? In place of omega, I have omega by, so I can write this as f of omega by a. So I can write this entire integral as f of omega by a. Now we'll look at the second case when a is less than 0. When a is less than 0, we'll substitute at is equal to minus y, and from there we'll get dt is equal to minus 1 by a dy, and if you follow the same procedure, we'll arrive at this equation. F of Fourier transform of f of at is equals to negative 1 by a f of omega by a. So we'll combine these two equations, 1 and 2. If we combine them, we can write it as Fourier transform of f of at is equal to 1 by mod a f of omega by a. Right? See, when a is a positive integer, 1 by a is positive. When a is negative, negative of 1 by a is also positive. So whatever the value of a, whether it is less than 0 or greater than 0, the coefficient is always positive. So we are writing it as 1 by mod a. Whatever the value of a, whether it's negative or positive, the coefficient is positive. 1 by mod a. So that is how we concluded this statement here. This Fourier transform pair, that is f of at has a Fourier transform 1 by mod a f of omega divided by a. Right? The next one is time shifting property. Time shifting property. If f of t has a Fourier transform f of omega, then a time shift in the time domain signal has a Fourier transform f of omega into e power minus j omega b. Here, if you look at this, there is a time shift in the time domain signal, which is resulting in phase shift. We are multiplying f of omega with the e power minus j term. That means there is a phase shift in your frequency domain. The amplitude is going to be the same, but there is a phase shift. We'll prove this property also. We'll take the Fourier transform of f of t minus b. Now in place of f of t, we'll just substitute f of t minus b. Now let us assume t minus b is equal to some other variable. We'll take t minus b is equals to y. And from that, when you differentiate on both sides, we get dt is equals to dy, and the limits also will not change. So Fourier transform of f of t minus b, Fourier transform of f of t minus b is equals to integral minus infinite to infinite. In place of t minus b, we have y, so f of y. In place of t, I can write y plus b, right, from this equation. So e power minus j omega, in place of t, I'm writing y plus b. Dt is equal to dy. So I'll just replace dt with dy. Now this e power minus j term can be separated, right? How? E power minus j omega y into e power minus j omega b, right? That is what we are going to do here. Now e power minus j omega b is independent of variable y. E power minus j omega b is independent of y. So I can take this outside, right? I can take this outside the integral. If I take it outside the integral, it looks like this. Now this is same as, can I compare it with this one? Minus infinite to infinite, f of t e power minus j omega t dt. I can compare it with this integral. This is nothing but f of omega. So instead of t, I can write y, no problem, right? It is just a variable. Instead of t, I can write y. So the final result will still be f of omega, right? So that is e power minus j omega b into f of omega, right? If you take the magnitude of this thing, I can write it as f of omega. How can I write? I can write f of omega into e power j theta of omega, right? This is how I can represent my f of omega. And I also have e power minus j omega b here. Now if I simplify this, it is still mod f of omega and e power minus j, e power minus j, or e power plus j, whichever, right? Theta of omega minus omega b, right? My original f of omega has just magnitude of f of omega and a phase of theta of omega. Now, if I shifted my time signal by b, my time signal is shifted by b seconds. So what happened? My amplitude is still the same. Amplitude is still the same. My phase now changed from theta of omega to theta of omega minus omega b. So this much phase shift. This is my phase shift. Minus omega b is the phase shift that is introduced because of shift in the time signal. Minus omega b is the phase shift introduced in my frequency domain signal, right? Due to the shift in the time domain signal. Okay. So a shift in the time domain signal results in a phase shift in the frequency domain signal. Okay. The next property is frequency shifting. The next property is frequency shifting. Now we have seen how the time shift, right? A time shift here in the time domain signal will affect my frequency domain phase, right? Frequency domain phase. Right? Now, frequency shifting. If we shift the frequency domain, how will my time signal be affected? Right? That is what we are going to look at now. Now, we'll take the expression for Fourier transform of e power j omega t f of t. So in place of f of t, I am just going to substitute e power j omega t f of t. Now these two terms I'm going to combine. Both the e terms I'm going to combine. So it becomes f of t e power minus j omega minus omega naught t dt. Right? I am combining these two terms. These two terms I'm going to combine. This is how it combines. Now, if you compare these two equations, okay, just look at this integral and this integral. This integral is f of omega, right? F of omega. Now in place of omega, I have omega minus omega naught in this integral here. So how can I write this expression? It's going to be equal to f of omega minus omega naught. In place of omega, I have omega minus omega naught. So f of omega minus omega naught. Right? This is the Fourier transform for this signal. So whatever we have seen in the last, what did we see in the last two properties? Shift in time domain signal results in phase shift in frequency domain. Now here in this property, shift in frequency domain signal results in phase shift in time domain signal. So what can we say? If there is a time shift, or if there is a shift in one frequency, if there is a shift in one domain, not one frequency, sorry, if there is a shift in one domain, there will be a corresponding phase shift in another domain, right? If there is shift in one domain, then there will be a corresponding phase shift in another domain. So this is the end of frequency shifting property. So far we have seen linearity property, time scaling property, time shifting, and frequency shifting. The next one is duality or symmetry. If f of t has a Fourier transform f of omega, then capital F of t has the Fourier transform 2 pi small f of minus omega. So f of t is my time domain signal and f of omega is my frequency domain signal. Here capital F of t is nothing but in my frequency domain signal, if I just replace omega with t, if I just replace omega with t, and I'm going to consider that signal as my time domain signal. For such signal, the Fourier transform will be 2 pi into replace my original time domain signal f of t. In place of t, I'll replace it with minus omega. This property will prove. You will understand it better with an example which we'll discuss after finishing the properties. So first let us just look at the proof. General expression for inverse Fourier transform we'll take here. F inverse of f of omega is nothing but f of t. The formula for that is going to be 1 by 2 pi integral minus infinite to infinite f of omega, the Fourier transform, e power j omega t d omega, right? Now in place of t, I'll substitute negative t, minus t. So in place of t here, I'm going to substitute minus t. Now this 2 pi, I'm going to get it to left hand side. So 2 pi minus t is equals to integral minus infinite to plus infinite f of omega e power minus j omega t d omega. And now I'll substitute omega I'll interchange omega and t. In place of omega, I'll put t. In place of t, I'll put omega. So in place of t, if I put omega, I'll get 2 pi f of minus omega integral minus infinite to infinite. In place of omega, I'm going to put t, f of t e power minus j omega t. So omega and t I'm going to interchange. So it is the same. And in place of d omega, I have dt. Now this is nothing but the Fourier transform of this signal, right? Whatever the signal we have, it is nothing but the Fourier transform, right? For the signal into e power minus j omega t dt is nothing but Fourier transform of the signal here. So it is nothing but the Fourier transform of capital F of t. So what do we have here? 2 pi, we have 2 pi f of minus omega is the Fourier transform of f of t. Same thing, right? 2 pi f of minus omega is nothing but the Fourier transform of capital F of t. So I'll just show you a small example for this. So here, this is my time domain signal, a rectangular function. The frequency domain or the Fourier transform for this signal is a sampling function. Okay, we'll prove this later. I'm just showing you an example what this duality or symmetry means. For a rectangular signal, the Fourier transform is a sampling function. Now, in place of my Fourier transform, in place of omega, if I just have t here, it looks something like this, right? This is my sampling function in time domain. Here, this is a sampling function in frequency domain. I'm taking the same sampling function in time domain here. The Fourier transform of this function will be similar to this, the original time domain, right? In place of t, we'll have omega, right? That is what it is given here. If I take the time version of the frequency here, this is my sampling function f of omega. I'm just taking the time domain version of it. In place of omega, I'm just substituting t. It becomes time domain. Now for this time domain signal, what will be my Fourier transform? It will be similar to this one here, right? Rectangular function has sampling function as a Fourier transform. Then sampling function will have rectangular function as a Fourier transform. That is what this property states, duality or symmetry. If f of omega is equal to f of minus omega, if this condition is satisfied, that means it is an even function, nothing but an even function. So my f this will become my duality property. If this is the condition, then we call it perfect symmetry. This is just a statement. All you need to remember is this. This is my duality property. Right? This is the duality property. In the next video, we'll continue the properties of Fourier transform.